Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. Join award-winning host Dale Davidson as he interviews the most remarkable people you'll find in the entertainment capital of the world. You'll meet entertainers, sports figures, newsmakers, community and business leaders, and people just like you with stories that'll touch your heart. Now, here's Dale Davidson.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Each and every week we bring you a fascinating guest. We've done it again. Lisa Landau, who is the CEO of Intelligent Lighting, and a wonderful Christian woman, is here visiting us from Southern California. And I understand you were one of thousands visiting us from Southern California this weekend. How long did it take you to get here?
From Orange County, about 5.5 hours.
Yeah,
yes.
It should have been under 3.
Yes, but it was worth the journey.
Yeah, but thanks for coming. The I-15 is possibly the most stress that you'll have when you're in Las Vegas.
Well, luckily the stations that do come in are praise music, so that kind of helps with the ride.
That's nice. That's nice. If you don't mind, let's delve a little bit during our first segment into your backstory. Talk about your childhood a little bit. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I was born in Chicago.
Okay.
My father worked for KB Homes, which is a huge nationwide builder.
They still are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did very well, so he kept getting promoted. With those promotions came moves. So we moved quite a bit when I was a child. So we ended up in Detroit, and that's where I spent the rest of my childhood.
Okay.
And graduated from high school in Detroit.
Yeah. What job did your dad have with KB at that point?
When we got to Detroit, I believe he was a division president.
Wow.
So I think at 30 years old, he was the youngest division president in the company.
That's huge.
Yes.
That's huge.
He was very good.
And tell us a little bit about your grandfather. He sounds like he was a really terrific man.
He was. My grandfather was awesome, just very creative, and he lived in Chicago, so his whole life was in Chicago. So that's where our roots were.
Now he was an inventor. Is that right?
Yes, he invented many things, and one of the things that he invented was the power disc that he brought to my father.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
So basically, back in the early 80s, they weren't really worried about energy consumption and being green like we are today.
Oh, sure.
So he came up with this invention that you attach it to the bottom of an incandescent light bulb. And typically incandescent light bulbs last 1,000 hours. And if you burn that 24/7, it's about 30 days, maybe a little over 30 days.
And there are applications where you have to have the lights on all the time.
Like in the model homes. So when you've got model homes.
And in this town,
and in Vegas, all the time. Lights are on all the time.
Yeah.
So he brought it to my father. He put it in the model homes because that was the biggest pain in his neck, is constantly changing these bulbs, because he had to have the bulbs on 24/7 also for security reasons, not only for aesthetics to try and sell the models, but for security. And so I think after installing the power disc in these bulbs in the model homes, 60 days later, he was like, this is amazing. Not one bulb burned out.
Wow.
So he knew right away. And he gave up a very lucrative job with KB Homes to join forces with my grandfather.
Okay. And they formed their own company?
Yes. It was Zena International back then. And the power disc was the product. And they started branching out. We started having different franchises in different states. So it was gaining momentum. And then Muhammad Ali became our spokesperson.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
What was he like? And he didn't do a lot of endorsements compared to the way some do.
Like George Foreman or some of the others.
That's right.
Muhammad Ali really never endorsed very many products. But the one thing about him is he loved children. He loved just helping people. He was very compassionate, and helping to get this into underdeveloped countries as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
and did you get orders from, or did they get orders from overseas for the bulbs?
Well, what happened, we did get an order from overseas, and it was from the country of Egypt for 1 billion pieces.
A billion?
Yes.
A billion power discs?
Yes.
Wow.
So at that time, you know, that's a large order. So they had the momentum going. Muhammad Ali was our spokesperson, but we needed somebody bigger and stronger that could help with that manufacturing and the distribution of that amount of product. And so my dad partnered with a major retailer at that time, and they had talked about putting the power disc into their catalog, and that they were going to generate $76 million in revenue in like a 2 or 3 year period.
Wow.
So with the structure of that deal, basically my father signed over the company to this retailer, and
Gave up control.
Gave up control. You know, was going to be an officer and on the board and all that good stuff that comes along with that. And about a month later, this retailer put that division into bankruptcy and took my dad's company with it.
Wow. Wow.
So,
what do you think their motivation was? Was it all about money?
do you want my opinion?
I do want your opinion.
I believe it was intentional. I believe it was intentional because if you look at it, again, they weren't worried about saving energy so much, and the power disc reduced the energy consumption by 42%. So there was articles written where my dad and Ali talked about how they were going to get some backlash from the utility companies because they were going to lose money.
Sure.
And then also from the light bulb manufacturers, because now we're taking a bulb that would last 1,000 hours and it would last 100,000 hours.
Wow.
So, for example, we got some of the bulbs into the MGM, into the valet area where you drive up. It's about 3,000
In the
bulbs.
hotel here?
Yes, here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so they were changing those out every 30, 45 days. 4 years later, the same bulbs.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. And you believe that the new CFC bulbs are really bad for us, right? I mean, I got the. What are they?
They're called CFLs.
CFL.
Compact fluorescent light bulbs.
Okay.
So it's a fluorescent light bulb, like your tube, but they've crunched it down and made it the little curly ones.
Yeah, little
curly bulbs. Yeah.
Now, what's in that bulb? What makes it work?
What makes a CFL work is mercury, a combination of mercury and phosphor.
Okay.
Both very, very bad elements. Mercury is one of the most toxic elements on Earth, and if you were to inhale that, get it into a wound, there's just a myriad of disease and illnesses that are caused by mercury exposure. Cancer, Alzheimer's, autism, is just, the list goes on.
Now, when the law was passed, Congress passed a law that mandated that these CFLs take over the market for bulbs, right? Now, was there any consideration of the fact that there was mercury there? Did the environment, the EPA, have a look at that, or did they just ignore all of that?
Well, they must have taken a look at it because there's 3 pages on the EPA website what you have to do to clean up your toxic chemical spill. And
if you break a bulb.
If you break one in your home.
Wow.
And sweeping and vacuuming are not on the list. And what do most people do?
Sweeping them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they have no idea. And that's really my mission. And I believe that this is God's will, is what I'm doing, because people don't realize what they've brought into their home. Yeah. These things are toxic, and if you're a pregnant woman, they say don't even touch it. Go get somebody else to help you clean up a broken light bulb. So the exposure from the mercury, so it's vapor. A lot of people say, well, I used to play with mercury when I was a kid. Well, in the thermometers.
That's because we didn't know any better.
Well, we didn't know any better, but it's soluble. That was you could roll it in your fingers, whereas this is a vapor. So when you break that, it's an invisible vapor. You can't see where it's going. In Germany, right now, what they've done is we have drills here, earthquake drills, depending on where you live in the country. In Detroit, we'd have tornado drills, fire drills. Here you have earthquake drills, but in Germany they're also having broken CFL drills. So I have a documentary showing kindergarten, first grade age children being taught what to do if a CFL breaks. And of course they're using a bare CFL, a cleaned out CFL. And in school, even in fire drills, they say don't run, right? When you're exiting the building, they're making the children run out of the room.
whenever this happens.
if a bulb gets broken.
Now, how can people watch that? Is it on your website? Is there a link on your website to that video? Do you know?
Yes, I'm going to have a whole video library. There's
Oh,
so
okay.
many videos out there on every aspect of a CFL. So right now we've just been talking about the mercury.
Oh yeah.
So besides mercury, there's phosphor. So phosphor is also a rare earth element, and basically China has the control on the production of phosphor right now in the
Wow.
world.
Well, that brings up all kinds of things, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We need to take another brief break,
Okay.
Lisa. And we'll be back with Lisa Landau, who is with Intelligent Lighting, and a fascinating backstory. We'll be back with more right after this.
Drawn by the lights, glamour, and opportunities in Sin City, they come from all over the world, searching for their chance to be a pretty woman, a success, or maybe just to have a better life. Be somebody. What happened after they got here is literally changing the world. From the story of Tommy Scott, a former gang enforcer turned Christian evangelist, to the Hookers for Jesus Outreach Ministry, to the heart-wrenching story of Arturo Martinez and his heroic act of forgiving the man who assaulted and murdered his wife and 10-year-old daughter. Las Vegas Tonight presents an extraordinary depiction of Las Vegas as a city of transformation, from Sin City to Vegas Saints. Las Vegas Tonight, from Sin City to Vegas Saints, a collection of true stories of transformation, people whose lives were transformed, and people who are now transforming the world.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Lisa Landau is our guest. She's a fascinating woman, a great Christian lady. And let's talk about that for a minute. Were you a Christian all your life? Did you grow up as a Christian?
Actually, no. My family was Jewish, and so we were raised Jewish. Went to temple on all the high holidays, and I ended up moving from Detroit to San Diego, and that's where I attended college, and where I met my future husband. And his family was Christian. His father was actually a pastor.
Oh, okay.
He worked for Coca-Cola for 40 years, but his passion was Christ, and his love for Christ was just amazing. You could just feel it when you walked into their home. And so of course, going over there in the dating process, I got to hear the stories, and also I got hooked on 700 Club.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, great show. We carry it, in fact.
I love 700 Club.
Yeah.
So, but I just felt like there was something missing, and I felt being around Christians and just hearing the story on the other side. So I was raised learning the Torah, and now you know, reading the Bible and just the stories, I just felt like it completed me, and so I became a Christian.
And you've raised your kids in the faith?
I've raised my children as Christians, yes.
We're going to meet one soon.
You are
Cody.
going to meet my special.
Yeah, we're going to ask him about Christ, because he's a little preacher right here.
He is at 11 years old. He is.
That's wonderful.
But he loves the Word. So
yeah, tell me about your personal life, if you don't mind, a little bit. You ended up getting divorced, is that right?
I did. I ended up getting divorced, and then
Me too.
it happens. But we were still friends, and you know, we're there for each other. When he needs help, I help him, and actually I've been helping him quite a bit, going through some trials and tribulations.
Oh, okay.
He just lost his fiancée.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She died all of a sudden. Thank you. And he had nobody else, and so, you know, I stepped up and I'm helping him. So.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
Well, tell me this, Lisa. How does your Christian faith play into your desire to bring energy-efficient lighting to the world?
I think my Christian faith is what's carried me through, and it's been a long journey, and I think God was preparing me for that, and that's why I accepted Jesus, because He knew what was going to be in store for me. It started back when I was young. My husband and I had our first child, and I was in college, playing basketball in college. He was working. We didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't live in a great place. And even though we lived in San Diego, it gets cold in the winter. And you know, we used an electric blanket because we didn't have very good heat in this house, and so we used an electric blanket. And it turned out that my first daughter had trisomy 18. And trisomy 18 is a genetic disorder. It's one too many chromosomes of the 18th set. Trisomy 21 is Down syndrome.
Okay.
And we went.
So it's similar.
It's similar, but most trisomy 18 babies usually miscarry, and because they're so severely affected from head to toe. And but she lived, and I ended up having her at UCSD in San Diego. And I just remember having my C-section and waking up, and I had 8 doctors around my bed. And
Never a good sign.
No. And so I'm looking, and they're like, your baby has trisomy 18. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, she's going to die. So a month later, she lived for a month, and so we were very blessed. She changed so many lives, touched so many lives. And she passed away, and that was the beginning of you know, my spiritual journey as far as knowing that God had something in store for me.
And that obviously profoundly affected you and your husband, I'm sure.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you say she had only living a month and a real impact on people. How did that come about? In what way did she affect the people in the hospital, for example, the nurses and so on?
Well, being there with her, so we had to make the decision to take her off of life support, which we did, and I would go back every day and be with her in the intensive care, and the nurses would just see me there from, you know, as soon as I was allowed to go in until at the end of the day, and they had her hooked up on life support, and they had her hooked up on all the monitors.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so she would flatline sometimes, and I would rock her and pray, and she'd come back, and the nurses were just like, you know, just watching me, that I was there every day. And that at the same time, because UCSD is a county hospital, there was a lot of babies in the intensive care that had no parents that came to visit them. And so that moved a lot of these women. I had you know, people that quit drinking. They saw what this little child went through for that 1 month, and you know, this person became sober, and so it was a lot of wonderful things, wonderful blessings that came out of her death.
That's wonderful.
So.
It really is. We're going to take another brief break and come back and talk about intelligent lighting some more, because I'm fascinated by this. We'll be back with Lisa Landau right after these messages.
A potential audience of more than 50 million people is reached every week by Las Vegas Tonight. To keep the important message of Christ's love on the air, we need your prayers and financial blessings. Please send your tax-deductible gift to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. For a donation of $25 or more, we'll send you a copy of Dale Davidson's new book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints. You'll love these inspiring stories of Las Vegas Christians who are changing the world. Or donate to the ministry, or order Dale's book by going to vegassaints.org. That's vegassaints.org. Or call us today at 702-480-3989. That's 480-3989. God bless you.
Welcome back. We're interviewing Lisa Landau here on Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. A fascinating story. You were talking about your daughter who died after only a month. I get the idea you think maybe something had externally in the environment had something to do with her death. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we went through all of the genetic testing when something like that happens, because that is rare. for that type of chromosome defect to happen. And so there was no genetic issues on either side of the family. And like I told you, we were poor, so we used an electric blanket. And I'm convinced it was the the blanket, the EMFs that were emitting from the
EMF is?
electromagnetic frequency.
Okay.
So the EMFs, because it's recommended if you're pregnant, you know, if you're trying to conceive, not to expose yourself to those types of things, electric blankets and things like that, because of the EMFs.
And the EMFs exist in this curly Q little light bulb?
Yes, EMFs also
They do.
exist in
Yeah.
the curly bulbs. And I found after that, I had the wonderful opportunity to work for a cancer hospital, an alternative cancer hospital. So my knowledge about what we're being exposed to just kept growing and growing.
Wow.
So
Tell us about that hospital. Where was it?
it was in Tijuana.
Oh, okay.
So living in San Diego, that's our neighbors. So I
Cross
would
the border every day to go to work.
I cross the border every day, and everybody's like, well, "What are you doing? You know, can't you just find a job in San Diego?" And I would tell people I felt so blessed to have the opportunity to work at this wonderful hospital. It's a Christian-based hospital.
Oh, okay.
It is called Oasis of Hope.
Oasis of Hope.
Oasis of Hope.
Okay.
And Dr. Ernesto Contreras Sr. Was the founder, and he was just the most wonderful human being you could ever meet. This man truly loved the Lord and did not treat his patients without involving the Lord in that process. He prayed with the patients every day. They prayed. He sang to the patients. He was amazing. Yes, I felt very blessed to work there. And along the way, I learned how, you know, it was an alternative cancer hospital. So
what kind of treatments did they do?
they did stuff that I guess you would say wasn't allowed in the United States,
Right.
but really, besides the prayer, and there's Harvard studies that show that prayer is powerful.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And so prayer, doing everything naturally, cleansing the body, using things like vitamin B17, which is not allowed in the United States. It's a vitamin. My personal thoughts on that are is because it's a vitamin and you can't put a patent on it. So it's not allowed in the United States. But just seeing the things that caused cancer and you know, people to deteriorate their immune systems, all of these things that are attacking our immune system to allow diseases like cancer to even get started. So that's when I realized that environmental toxins, the foods that we eat, all of these things make a big difference in what happens. And so taking it a step further, I'm very passionate about children. I love my children, and after losing Krista, my goal was to keep my kids safe. And so my two older ones had to do the barley green and the carrot juicing every day, and no fast food, not allowed to have McDonald's, no soda. Candy, that was Halloween, and they'd get like one piece. And so, but because they were accustomed to that, it was okay. I mean, they didn't want the other stuff. And so I think we can control things like that with our children. But working at the hospital and seeing kids with cancer, that again was those seeds that I think the Lord kept planting and moving me forward to where I'm at now with the power disc and trying to come up with a better light bulb.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask this question about the bulb. Now, the bulb itself is a regular incandescent bulb, and the power disc is what makes it last longer?
correct. It's right now the incandescent bulb, my bulb, not the curly ones. The incandescent bulb is a two-part system right now.
Okay.
And so we have an energy-efficient incandescent bulb. So
Okay.
it's the 150-year-old Edison bulb that everybody loves, the bulb that everybody's hoarding right now because they're afraid it's going away. So the bulb is back. So the Edison bulb is back, but better. And so we've got the Edison bulb, and with the power disc, I've created a 100-watt equivalent incandescent bulb that operates at 28 watts and will last 130,000 hours.
Wow.
So-
wow. And normally, how long do they last?
Around 1,300 hours.
Wow, that's a lot more.
It is a lot more.
Yeah.
It is a lot more.
Yeah, and I want to talk about those who oppose you, because I think that's happening, isn't it?
I've had some obstacles, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come. People compare this to David and Goliath.
The Lord will help you, as He
Yes.
helped David.
Yes.
We need to take another brief break.
Okay.
We'll be back with Lisa. More on this story right after this.
Drawn by the lights, glamour, and opportunities in Sin City, they come from all over the world, searching for their chance to be a pretty woman, a success, or maybe just to have a better life. Be somebody. What happened after they got here is literally changing the world. From the story of Tommy Scott, a former gang enforcer turned Christian evangelist, to the Hookers for Jesus Outreach Ministry, to the heart-wrenching story of Arturo Martinez and his heroic act of forgiving the man who assaulted and murdered his wife and 10-year-old daughter. Las Vegas Tonight presents an extraordinary depiction of Las Vegas as a city of transformation, from Sin City to Vegas Saints. Las Vegas Tonight, from Sin City to Vegas Saints, a collection of true stories of transformation, people whose lives were transformed, and people who are now transforming the world.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We're with Lisa Landau, who's the CEO of Intelligent Lighting, and she's got a solution that we think is not only environmentally safe and money saving, but it really is an answer to prayer, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is.
Tell me about your what your goals are with your father's company, which is now your company. You're the third generation working on this product, and then we'll meet Cody shortly, who will be the fourth generation. It's really a passion for you, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And I believe it's something that all these obstacles that have come in the way from the major retailer that shut my father down and silenced the Power Disc for 15, 17 years.
Wow.
Basically, the Power Disc was locked up in their legal bankruptcy vault, and my father was finally able to get the Power Disc back in 2000. So we got the patent back, everything back. We had to redo the patent, do the new UL listing, and things looked good. Everything was going forward, and then my father had a stroke.
Oh, sorry.
So thank you. And so it was another setback, and a year and a half later, he ended up passing away. And at that point, my brother came to me and said, you know, we need to make this happen. And, you know, we tried, and so basically...
was there any hesitation on your part at the time? Because
not at all,
really?
not at all. Basically what happened was the cancer hospital I worked for in Tijuana, I ended up working for them in Irvine. They opened up a location in Irvine.
That's a God thing, huh?
It was definitely a God thing. I didn't even realize they had a location in Irvine. I had just moved up to Orange County with my children, and I did that on faith. Everybody's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. God said, go to Orange County. So I packed up my kids.
Good for
I'm
you.
doing it.
You're obedient.
Yes,
Yeah,
I am obedient. So I packed up my kids and went to Orange County, and I was listening to The Fish, which is an awesome Christian station in Orange County.
Christian music. Yeah.
Christian music, and Big Wave Dave, love him. And basically, I was listening to the radio, and it was a commercial for Oasis of Hope. And I had just been thinking about them, and basically I was like, okay, God's telling me I need to call them because I had just been thinking about it. Now here's their commercial. So I called up and I spoke to them. I said, hi, how are you doing? I just felt like God wanted me to call you. And he's like, I was thinking about you too. And he said, come see us. And I said, well, I'm in Orange County now. And he goes, so are we. So I ended up going to work at the clinic in Irvine.
Wow.
I was there for 1 year. And I believe that was the season that God wanted me there, because I met some wonderful people. A dear friend of mine, Bonnie Enders, who actually helped me get things going with the Power Disc. I met her there, and also my wonderful friend, Dr. Thermos. But my brother came to me and said, here's the Power Disc, we got to make this happen. But at the same time, I'm working at this clinic helping people with cancer, and I couldn't do both. I couldn't do justice to both. And so I had to pick one or the other, and I cried out, you know, oh God, what do I do now? This is a huge decision for me. And so that was in the morning. That afternoon, my boss came to me and said, you know, because it's alternative cancer treatment, insurance companies don't pay for it. So it's hard for people to come up, and in that economy, it was a couple of years ago now, people don't have that kind of cash, and so he had to lay me off. So he said, "I'm sorry, but I have to lay you off." And I was like,
I was going to quit today.
not that I didn't want to do it, but it was, God was just awesome and answered my prayer. I didn't have to make an agonizing decision and then try and second guess myself. Did I do the right thing?
Right.
Like I said, I was sad that I was leaving there, because it's a wonderful, wonderful clinic and the philosophy. But I knew that this is where my path was. I knew this is where God wanted me to go, so I had to continue this.
What kind of steps did you have to take to make the company happen?
Well, again, I met my friend Bonnie, and she, a couple months after I had been laid off, and I'm working on PowerDisc, and I'm on unemployment now, trying to make things happen and earn a living and just get things going. She came to me and she said, "The Lord spoke to me last night and said, I need to help you." And I really didn't tell her what was going on.
Oh, really?
She didn't know.
Out of nowhere.
Right, out of nowhere. And she said, "All I know is that I'm supposed to call you and say, I'm supposed to help you." And so she gave me the initial seed money for me to buy the domain name, to get the website created, to get things moving. And that was it, and I've been on that journey ever since.
Oh, that's fascinating. We're going to take another brief break. I want to talk about the bulb some more, and the competition. We'll be back with Lisa Landau right after this. Hello, I'm Dale Davidson. I hope you're enjoying Las Vegas tonight. The guests we've had on the program are wonderful examples of Christians who take seriously Christ's command to love one another. In addition to the hundreds of television stations across the United States now carrying our show, we have been presented with the outstanding opportunity to bring these inspiring stories to people around the world. An international satellite network in the Russian and Ukrainian languages has asked us to provide them with episodes to be broadcast to millions. To make a gift to support this very special effort, please send your check or money order to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To use your credit or debit card, call 702-480-3989. Thank you, and God bless you. And welcome back to Las Vegas tonight. Cody, your son, just gave us the countdown. We're going to have him on soon, very soon, in the next segment. He's a wonderful young man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's talk some more about the dangers of these, CFLs. These curly Q light bulbs. You're really death on these things, aren't you? You think they're dangerous.
Yes.
Why are they dangerous?
Well, we've touched on the mercury and the effects of mercury, the phosphor. If you were to break one of these bulbs, God forbid you get mercury in the wound. If you get phosphor in the wound, it prevents your blood from clotting. So then now you have wound healing issues. It puts out UV radiation. There was a study from Stony Brook University. They tested all of these curly bulbs, CFLs, and the phosphor coating was cracked. Not the glass, but the phosphor coating. And what that does is it intensifies the release of UV radiation. So if you're using a CFL, a curly bulb, as a reading light, and you're reading your child a bedtime story, and you're underneath it for more than an hour, you're increasing your chances of getting melanoma from a light bulb.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
and then the EMFs, and we talked about EMFs and my history with EMFs. These bulbs put out EMFs, so not only does it emit EMFs, it also contaminates the wiring in your home. So now you're polluting the inside of your home with dirty electricity. And there's been lots of studies and lots of indications that EMFs can cause diseases like leukemia, brain cancer. I see on my Facebook page, it's incredible how many kids are being diagnosed with brain cancer and brain tumors. That is my passion. As I told you, children are my passion. I've got Cody that keeps me going, and I look at him, he is my light, and to just keep me going. All these obstacles that have come in the way, I know that I need to educate people. At least when they go to the store, if they pick a curly bulb, at least know what you're bringing into your home and around your children, and what you could potentially be exposing them to. And that's why I feel like the incandescent bulb has to happen. That's why I never gave up. And now we've got something that's even better than what my dad had. It's above and beyond what I imagined could happen. So we've got the incandescent bulb, which is non-toxic, it's healthy, it's safe, and you can have it around your children. You can break it and not have to have the hazmat suits come out. I mean, that's really what it is. And so to get this launched, we need funding. And so that's why we are going the Kickstarter route. And Kickstarter is a
crowdsourcing,
it's a crowdfunding,
fundraising,
crowdfunding platform, and they have all kinds of great ideas, and it's a great avenue for people that have ideas and startup companies. And not only to raise money, but I just know that I have to educate people, and that's my mission, is to educate people.
Now, they can get to your Kickstarter via website, your website?
They can go to our website.
Okay, which is?
www.ecandescent.com.
ecandescent.com, and we'll put it up on the screen.
Perfect.
And then they can click on a link that'll take them to the Kickstarter campaign?
Yes, and the Kickstarter campaign will be launching, and we'll have that date for you.
Okay.
And they can go to either the website or to the Kickstarter page, and when you go to kickstarter.com, you would just search the word ecandescent.
Okay.
And it'll pull up our page, and any pledge is welcome. We really want to start a light bulb, a global light bulb revolution, because this problem isn't just in the United States. Everybody around the world is complaining about it, that the CFLs are bad. They don't know why they don't like them. They just know that they're bad. And again, most people don't even realize that it's against the law to throw those in your household trash. You have to drive them.
Everybody does.
Everybody does, and that mercury is going into our landfill. Some of those bulbs have enough mercury to contaminate up to 6,000 gallons of water, just one bulb.
Wow.
And people are throwing them in the trash, so they're getting exposed in their home, in our landfills. We're destroying our environment, and everybody tells me, but I thought I was doing the right thing. You know, they sold me on this, that I'm going green if I get these curly ones, I'm doing the right thing. But they're not.
Unintended consequences.
Yes.
It's a law almost,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah. What's the next step aside from the Kickstarter in your company? Looking down the road 5 years from now, do you want to be a major manufacturer? Do you want to do more R&D? Tell me about intelligent lighting and what you want to do with the firm.
Well, our goal is to create energy efficient products and services that will help not only the health of the people on this planet, but our planet as well, and to also minister. And you know, in 2 Corinthians, we are, you know, all ministers, and
yeah, we sure are.
And
we're all supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal, is just to give, if I can help just one child prevent from getting cancer, autism, any of these other diseases or illnesses that are associated with all of these things, all of these inherent dangers that are in the CFL. If I can just help one child, then I've done my job.
That's wonderful. And once again, the website is www.ecandescent.com. We're going to come back for one more segment. We're going to bring Cody on and talk to him a little bit. We'll be back with Cody and Lisa right after this.
A potential audience of more than 50 million people is reached every week by Las Vegas Tonight. To keep the important message of Christ's love on the air, we need your prayers and financial blessings. Please send your tax-deductible gift to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. For a donation of $25 or more, we'll send you a copy of Dale Davidson's new book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints. You'll love these inspiring stories of Las Vegas Christians who are changing the world. Or donate to the ministry, or order Dale's book by going to vegassaints.org. That's vegassaints.org. Or call us today at 702-480-3989. That's 480-3989. God bless you.
And we're very pleased to have with us Lisa Landau and her son Cody. Here he is. Hi, Cody.
Hello.
You're a charming young man. We've enjoyed having you here today.
Thank you very much.
And this is the first TV show you've ever done? He's thinking about it.
Probably second.
Second? Oh, okay, good, good. So you're an old pro.
More like beginner.
There you go. How old are you, Cody?
I'm 11.
And what grade are you in?
6th.
Okay, and you live in Orange County?
Go OC.
There you go. And you lived in Las Vegas. You moved to Las Vegas, right?
Yeah,
A
just
while
right
back?
after the shooting.
Tell me about the shooting.
I guess one of my friends' dad, he got a little, how would I say, crazy, and went by a salon near our school, and shot 3 people. Like,
Oh,
I can't imagine, like, why would somebody do that? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right.
Just like when you're about to say something, think before you do,
Right,
or think before you speak.
right. And that was part of the motivating factor that you and your mom moved here to Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, and tell me how the shooting affected you, and tell me how it played into your faith as a Christian.
Well, I would say that if somebody ever did that, I'd probably have more faith in Jesus, because those people got unluck. Like, they got bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had their faith in Jesus and believed in God,
Mm-hmm.
they went to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have a happier life. Like, they had a happier life down here on earth, but they would have a better life and a better experiences up in heaven.
Yeah, well, that's a very mature way to look at it, because we don't know why bad things happen, and bad things do happen on earth, like the shooting that you experienced with your friend's dad. But what we do know is Christ walks with us, right?
Yes.
Jesus is always with us. And when you came to Las Vegas, you were part of a local church?
Yeah, I was part of a local church.
And did you enjoy that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Every single second of it.
Did you really? I saw a video of you preaching a little bit. What was that like? How did you like that?
It was a nice experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're changing somebody's life because you're just saying about their emotions, what is inside of them. So probably I changed about 25 people's lives.
Wow.
That day.
Wow. Yeah, and there was a lot of amen brothers going on.
Yeah.
In that one. So, you were touching people. What would you say your central message was in your sermon? What were you trying to tell people?
I was trying to tell people that if you're angry at somebody, if like they left their dog's poop on your lawn, you don't get angry.
Right.
Because maybe they're going through troubles of their own. And maybe people are leaving their dog's poop on their lawn,
Sure. Sure.
So maybe he just wants to make people feel how they made him feel.
Mm-hmm.
Him or her.
Mm-hmm.
So my central message was, don't get angry. You gotta let it go. It's like poison, a 50-gallon drum in your soul, in your mind, and it's holding up. If you just let it go, it's like you're just dumping it out. It's not in you anymore, and you can fill it with good things, like happiness, joy, memories. That's why God put us on this earth, to have good, joyful memories. Everything He does for us is good.
Wow.
But like people,
Mm-hmm.
people do bad things that they think is right. Like World War II, He made people believe that He was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, He killed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about Hitler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was just basically crazy. Like, there's nothing to say about it. That many people died. You can't imagine. If you're living in a city and you just see 100 people, You think that's a lot of people, but the people he killed, it would be, if he, I can't even say how many people he killed. It's like filling up Las Vegas here. Filling that all up. Every hotel, every house, every inch with people standing, living, or sleeping would be gone.
So evil can overcome the world, and then with Jesus and with a faith in God, we can turn things around. Would you say that's what you were communicating in your sermon?
But the basic thing to know, do you know what Bible means?
Bible. Well, what does it stand for?
Basic instructions before leaving Earth.
I like that. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. And it really is an instruction manual, isn't it?
It tells you what and what not to do, how and how not to do it. It gives you everything you need. So if you're feeling angry and about to, like, splash a dog or a person with your hose, just
back to the dog poop incident. Yeah, we got that.
You just have to think for 1 second. Just remind yourself that this is just one of your mistakes. You have a lot of life to go in front of you. If you kill somebody, they lock you up for the rest of your life. So think about something before you do it. Was it really worth it? Was it worth it to take that person's life? It's crazy. It's madness.
It is madness, and Jesus is the answer.
Jesus is always the answer.
Yes, he is. And that was very wise, wasn't it? I'm sorry we're out of time. Will you come back again? And
of course I will.
Okay. He's going to be a little star. He's going to be a big star. Thank you for coming on, Cody. We appreciate it very much. Lisa and Cody Landau, here from Orange County, California. It's been a fascinating day. We appreciate you both coming.
Thank you very much.
God bless you all.
God bless you.
Please stick around. There's plenty more right here on this station. And please always remember, walk with Him. God bless.
Drawn by the lights, glamour, and opportunities in Sin City, they come from all over the world, searching for their chance to be a pretty woman, a success, or maybe just to have a better life. Be somebody. What happened after they got here is literally changing the world. From the story of Tommy Scott, a former gang enforcer turned Christian evangelist, to the Hookers for Jesus Outreach Ministry, to the heart-wrenching story of Arturo Martinez and his heroic act of forgiving the man who assaulted and murdered his wife and 10-year-old daughter. Las Vegas Tonight presents an extraordinary depiction of Las Vegas as a city of transformation, from Sin City to Vegas Saints. Las Vegas Tonight, from Sin City to Vegas Saints, a collection of true stories of transformation, people whose lives were transformed, and people who are now transforming the world. You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with Dale Davidson. Send your tax-deductible gifts to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Or call 702-480-3989. Thanks for watching.